Welcome to One Question at a Time, the TSI series. Question number 134. The volume of a sphere is 8 times that of another sphere. What is the ratio of the surface area of the larger sphere to that of the smaller sphere? So when we read a question, we can eliminate immediately two choices. Okay, so what they say, the surface area of the larger sphere to the smaller sphere. Okay, so you know that it could be some bigger numbers. Okay, two smaller numbers. So you see this one 1 to 4, this one eliminate because 1 cannot be the bigger numbers compared to 4. And then also 1 to 2, that is the two choices we can eliminate right away. Now we can start with the problem, and we're saying the bigger, the larger sphere, I call it like the sphere, like the B sphere for big, okay? And then for the small sphere, I got S. So let's calculate the volume, okay? The volume of the bigger to the smaller is 8 times. So let's write down the volume of the bigger over the volume of the smaller. And we know the formulas is 4 over 3 pi r, the radius of the bigger sphere, cube, over 4 over 3 pi r of the smaller, the radius of the smaller sphere, cube. And we know that the 3 over 4 divided by 3 over 4, that is 1. We can cancel it. Pi divided by pi. And we left with r sub b, okay, the radius of the bigger sphere over the radius of the smaller sphere, r cubed, that equal 8 times. And we can find the ratio of the radius from the bigger sphere to the smallest, the radius of the smaller sphere is 8, is 2, right? Because we take the cube root both sides, okay? So we'll have r sub b over r sub s, okay? The ratio of the radius from the bigger sphere to the smaller one is cube root of 8, which is 2. Okay, now what they're asking is the ratio of the surface area of the larger sphere, which is the SA surface area of the bigger over the surface area of the smaller sphere, that equal to. Okay, now the formula set is 4 pi r of the big one, okay, square, over 4r, the radius of the smaller one, square. Similar to the above, we have 4 divided by 4, pi divided by pi, and then we left with r to the power of the radius of the bigger sphere over the radius of the smaller sphere, all square. okay? And we want to know what is this, okay? So we plug in. We see that this b over s is 2. Also, it's 2 over 1, which just means the radius of the bigger one is double. Okay, so r of b is double r of s. Okay, so the bigger radius is twice smaller radius. So we have 2 over 1, okay, square. Now we calculate. We distribute that in. We will have 2 square is 4. 1 square is 1. So this is 4, 2, 1. So this one the same thing as 4, 2, 1. So A is the correct answer. So we know that if we have the radius of the bigger equal a number, let's call h is kind of like the factors. In this case, h equal 2, okay, multiplied by the radius of the smaller one. So we will have r over b, r of b over r of s. The radius of bigger over the radius of smaller will be h over 1. And then if we're talking about the surface area of the bigger over surface area of the smaller, that will be h squared, okay, over 1. And then if we have the volume of the bigger over the volume of the smaller sphere, that will be h to the power of 3 to 1. Okay, so let's plug in this case to check if that's correct. So you see that the constant h equal 2 in this case, right? We find that. So the bigger radius over the smaller radius is 2 over 1. We just found it right here. Okay, now we check for the surface area of the bigger sphere over the surface area of the smaller sphere. That is 4 over 1, which is 2 square or h square over 1. That's 4 over 1. Okay, so SAB over SAS, that is equal to h squared, which is 2 square over 1. This is h squared equal 4, so 4 over 1. Now the volumes of the bigger one over the volume of the smaller one will be h cubed, which is 2 cubed over 1, which is h cubed is 2 cubed is 8. Okay. So by remember that, you can working on these questions faster if you see in the test. When they're asking about the ratio of the surface area, you know what to expect it will be look like. Thank you for participating in this series and see you next time.